Hey guys, it's me, Becca Lori Hector, back here again with you because yesterday's video was a big giant mess. I'm sorry for the lighting, which is very bright, but it's all coming from this window over here that I don't have any kind of blinds for yet. Because again, I just moved down here, so it's really only at this particular time of day that the sun comes in right here. But I don't have any other time the rest of the weekend to kind of do this for you, so I want to fix what I did yesterday. So I really loved the intro and I loved everything I talked about leading up to the news. But what I found out yesterday after uploading the video and sharing it with you guys is that when I went and minimized the screen so I could read all the news stories, apparently that triggered my camera to shut off. So I am going to start up where I was. I'll kind of revamp a little bit here and kind of tell you what we were doing in Neurodiversity Newsstand, what I plan to do in Neurodiversity Newsstand, and then I'm going to get to the news real quick because I have to get to the supermarket. Oh, I hate the supermarket. And I hope you're enjoying my Saturday morning hair, okay? Literally, I got out of bed, and I'm in my pajamas still. My hair is a mess, and I haven't washed my face or anything, but hey, here's that for authenticity, and here's that for vulnerability. Whatever, that doesn't even matter to me. So here we are, right? So Neurodiversity Newsstand, really awesome, fun group that I run on Facebook. We started it as a safe place to start sharing resources and information on autism and other neurodiversities like ADHD, OCD, etc., etc. And what I wanted it to be was a safe place where we kind of tried to do our best to keep the news positive, and when we have negative news, kind of try to figure out a positive way around it and how we could continue to move our community forward without all of the negative aggression that seemed to be happening at the time, which continues today. So I was not able to stop the aggression, but I did create a little sanctuary for those of us who choose not to participate in toxic type relationships. So in any case, that's Neurodiversity Newsstand, and it went really amazingly well. I asked 3 ridiculous questions to get in, just so that I know that you're not a robot. And so far, everybody has managed to not break the rule of disrespect. So I'm proud of us, and I thought, well, let's take it to LinkedIn, because, you know, on LinkedIn, lots of the same stories, but sometimes there's different stories. It's, of course, a lot more business related, a lot more economics related, definitely more business oriented and money oriented. So, you know, there's some different stories, and I try to cross populate when it's a really good piece that has been really active. Of course, my LinkedIn group is smaller because folks on LinkedIn don't seem to participate quite as much, but it's there. So I have those 2 groups, and we've been really successful in both ends, and had a lot of fun kind of giving people a place to not only share the news stories that they were finding, but what we were also having go on in our community is that people were really protective of their own group. So there was not a lot of cross-sharing, so people were uncomfortable having other advocates share their writing on that particular advocate's page. I don't understand that behavior. I didn't at the time. I still don't get it. So Neurodiversity Newsstand was also a place where all advocates could share their own work without anybody saying, get out of my group, this is my group. Because that's not the basis for Neurodiversity Newsstand. So that was that. So here we all grew up in this nice little group. We've had a really grand time doing it. But I wanted to see if we could stretch our wings a little bit. How could we kind of expand on what it is that we're doing in these little tiny platform places? Are there other platforms we could be using? So posted a poll to our group, and I said, what do you want to do? Should I write a blog once a month with our highlights? Should I don't know, do a podcast? Do you want me to do something else that you can think of? And then I said, of course, you know, how about a YouTube video once a week? Kind of like a This Week in Neurodiversity idea where I could talk about the big stories from the week, kind of our popular ones, and then what we sort of, our takeaways were from it, where we want to see it go, and of course, because I'm the one recording it, my opinion. When I post stories in Neurodiversity Newsstand, I don't post with opinion. I literally just share the link because I want everyone to read the same information I had a chance to read and make their own opinions. And then we kind of discuss our opinions in the comments. So occasionally I'll add my comments there, but I don't usually give my opinion when I'm posting the actual article. So that's that. So here we are. We're back at part 2 now of our intro and our first installment of Neurodiversity Newsstand. And now here is the news from the week that ended in 8/9, because that's the only way I can think to remember the dates and such. So yeah, this is all the news that I thought was important to repeat, and to kind of, what's the word I want to say, to kind of highlight and kind of get into a little bit more depth. And so that if you don't have a chance to hop on Facebook or participate in the group every time or all week long, you can hop here on YouTube, and if you subscribe and you give it thumbs up and you do the likes and all of that fun stuff, we could maybe grow this channel. And then once a week you can pop in on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday for all I care, and just catch up on what you missed during the week. And if you're interested, I'll post, I think I'm going to open every kind of installment with where I'm at in my life, stuff I'm thinking about, just general thoughts, things I might have to say, and then of course we'll go into the news. So if yesterday hadn't got cut off right when I got to the news, I would have shared these stories with you. So here we go. The first really big one from earlier in the week that I think hit us and impacted us and caused a lot of conversation back and forth, sharing of resources, that kind of thing, was an article from Spectrum News, which not all of us like. You know, some of us get it as a mailer, some of us have stopped getting it as a mailer. Sometimes I pay attention, sometimes I don't. A lot of the times I think their stories are skewed towards the neuro majority. I think there is a lot of information about a lot of the science that's happening that isn't necessarily supported by the autistic community. In any case, this one article, though, occasionally they have a good one. So like a couple of weeks ago, I had the pleasure of kind of sharing some of my story with struggling with depression with a journalist who was writing for Spectrum about the co-occurrence and what it's like to be an adult with autism and struggle also with co-occurs like anxiety and depression. But this week, they put out an article that I think we all knew was coming. I think we all have talked about it in our private conversations, in our chit chats, in our groups, but we haven't seen the black and white science of it come out yet until now. So big old study. What is it? Autistic women are twice as likely to commit suicide as autistic men. Well, interesting, because we know autistics as a population already have a higher suicide rate than the rest of the neuromajority. However, autistic women are twice as likely as the men in our community to at least attempt suicide. And I don't know anything about success rates, which is like a weird way to say it, I guess. I don't know. But that's what I guess it's called. But I don't know anyone, and I guess this is the sad truth of it, I don't know anyone who is diagnosed late in life with autism that does not have co-occurs. And I don't mean a co-occur, I mean we all have multitude of co-occurs. For those of us who didn't know our diagnosis, we lived a life of trauma, misunderstanding, and certainly really poor self-esteem. So we're not surprised to see that, and I think when we talk about it in our conversations, we wouldn't be surprised if we mentioned this information or it was found by some other group. But again, this is the first time it's been published, so now we can use that information, hopefully in our kind of push forward to get supports for adults on the spectrum. But another great thing that came out of that article, besides the fact that it was actually in black and white, was I was able to also share one of the pieces that one of our fellow newsies has been working on for quite a bit, and that's Lisa Morgan. Lisa, I know you probably watch, and I'm sorry if you didn't want your name mentioned, but she's done amazing work with the Association for Suicidology, and she has created a toolkit of resources for autistics struggling with suicide. So I'm going to put that link kind of here. So I put it in the last description. I'm going to put the same links again, so now you know what they're for. So I put the link to the article, and I'll of course put a link to Lisa's resources, because I think they're fantastic. Because if you're going to just complain, and this is a pet peeve, I hate complaining without action. I mean, if you're going to complain, then do something about it, and you better have a solution before you open your mouth. That's just a pet peeve of mine. I mean, you can not like how something's going, but if you can't think of a way to make it better, just complaining about it to me seems like a waste of energy and sort of a critique on the people that may be trying where you're not. So in any case, that was that article, and that was one of my first big ones. Number 2 for this week, another really, really big one. Oh, I just got a notification of some kind from Kathy. There's always something wrong with my computer. And so the second article, it was a bit, actually, I think, and I wish I could tell, but it's hard because I'm not in the mainstream, because I'm definitely an active part of our community, but I can't kind of switch my perspective to see it from the other side. So I hope that this article is one that made itself into the mainstream, because it was about Sesame Street. It's a show near and dear to our hearts, especially for those of us on the spectrum, as they've always kind of talked about inclusion, loving people for who they are, being different has always been okay. All of those themes have sort of been a part of Sesame Street for a long time. So when Sesame Street decided to introduce an autistic character, and they not only did so, but they also chose to make her a female, it was a really big deal to our community. It meant visibility. It means we're part of people's conversations at their breakfast table. And it meant a chance for kids to learn about people who are different a lot earlier on, which changes the stigma, or at least I hope it does. And so that was a really big deal, and they had actually sought out advisement from autistics and putting her together. And that was the time that ASAN, Autistic Self-Advocacy Network, kind of hopped on board with them and helped them to kind of put together what they were doing. Well, as of late, Sesame Street has started to work with Autism Speaks. I know, I can't believe I said that out loud. But yes, so they started to work with Speaks. Obviously, as all things are that Speaks does, there's money attached to it and involved. And I guess that they were, they started working together and making some PSAs that autistics absolutely feel like continue to keep the stigma alive. So what happened this week? ASAN said no more. Julia Bascom, their president, has written a nice piece together of their statement on why they will no longer work with Sesame Street. And it's not that it's Sesame Street they don't want to work with, but rather that it's Autism Speaks that they don't want to work with. So they don't want to work with Sesame Street because Sesame Street has opted to now work with Autism Speaks. So ASAN has separated themselves. I'm hoping that this situation actually kind of blows up a little. I think ASAN handled it amazing. Thank you guys for always being on our side, for always supporting us, and for making sure that we don't handle things, especially policy things and big things like this, kind of emotionally. Rather, instead, they put together a really nice written format. This is our position. This is why we're doing it, blah, blah, blah. And it makes us seem like less emotional, chaotic, crazy people for getting upset about everything and being oversensitive about everything. Because in this case, it's definitely not an oversensitivity. In this case, we are a large community that for many years has talked about the dangerous stuff that Autism Speaks has been supporting and sharing. And so to have one of our own large groups that supports us as a community stand up and say, no, we mean it so seriously that we will not work with you anymore, even though you're Sesame Street. So well handled, Julia, ASAN. Thank you guys so much for being on our side. I hope Sesame Street gets their crap together, understands that Autism Speaks is from the past and ASAN is our future. So that was article number 2. I'm sure you saw it posted a whole bunch of places, all over the place. It was a big deal in our community this week, and I think it should be. All right, and another big moment for us this week, and I think it's sort of a fun one, so I'm going to end with it. It also happened towards the end of the week, which is convenient. But I think it's also a big deal. And again, it's because it's in mainstream media. So Hannah Gadsby, we all love her. She did the fantastic Nanette. She has come out as autistic. She talks about it. She doesn't feel ashamed about it. And she openly supports our community. Here's somebody who managed to find success with her talent and her skill set that we know she has because of her autistic brain. And now finding herself in a position of leadership and power, she has decided to use it for good. So what was the big deal, right? What is the big deal about Hannah Gadsby? Well, she went on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert this week, and she talked a little bit about her pet rock project. So the pet rock project that she's working on is she does sort of a bit in her new show where she talks about anti-vaxxers and how anti-vaxxers should probably get some pet rocks instead of having kids so fast. And a play on that is if she decided to make her own pet rocks and sell them after the show. So she'll be doing that, and the proceeds of it will be going to our very own Autistic Women and Non-Binary Network. Yay, Sharon, congratulations. We are so excited to see another one of our big groups getting attention from somebody who has visibility. Yay! So that was a big win for us this week. Thank you, Hannah Gadsby. Thank you, Autistic Women and Non-Binary Network, for all the work that you do. And get yourselves out there. Go see Douglas, which is her next show after Nanette for Hannah Gadsby. Go see it. Buy a pet rock. See if you can't convince an anti-vaxxer to take care of it for you. I don't know. Great idea. Love it. Love that she's donating to a real grassroots autistic network that supports autistics. Yay! So that was the other big news for this week. So I'm sure that I missed ones. These are the ones that stood out to me out of the ones we've shared. These are the ones that I thought we had the most conversation about in our group, as well as the ones that I saw shared the most kind of all over social media. So those were our big takeaways from this week. We, of course, also had International Cat Day this week, which for those of you who are new to the newsstand, who are new newsies, I guess, it's a big deal for us in Newsstand. We all happen to have kind of an addiction to cats. Cat memes, cat pictures, cats ourselves. It seemed to be a theme running early on for us. I am a huge cat person, and everybody kind of jumped on board with me. So we celebrated International Cat Day this Thursday with asking everyone to share their favorite funny cat memes. So if you need a laugh and you have nothing to do, hop into Neurodiversity Newsstand. You can take a look at some of those memes. They were great, you guys. Really good ones. Some of them I saved. So that was fun for us. And then what else can I share from Newsstand? Oh, I can take a moment to do some self-promotion. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. So I have a webinar coming up on August 22nd at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It is being hosted by AANE, which is the Autism Asperger's Network. They are based in New England, but they are hosting me for a webinar that's going to go from 7 p.m. Eastern to 8:30 p.m. Eastern, so whatever your time zone is, find it, because I'll be giving the webinar from Mountain Time here in Colorado with this background, I think, and hopefully not that light. So yeah, I'll be doing that, and the webinar is going to be called What is Neurodiversity? Again, I'm going to treat it kind of like how I do Neurodiversity Newsstand, which is to say that I don't know how much opinion is going to be in there. I'm going to try and really do a Neurodiversity 101. But of course, I can't do any presentation without my sense of humor, which I always bring with me. And it will be the first time I'm giving this presentation. So we're going to talk a little bit about what neurodiversity is, where kind of its history, and how we use the word neurodiversity now, and where we think neurodiversity is headed to the future, as well as talking about neurodiversity as maybe a culture, or is it a movement, and kind of deciphering all of that stuff. So I'll be doing that on August 22nd. You can go ahead and register now. I've shared the link on my Facebook page, Becca Laurie CAS, and if you need to, I will put the link here in the description also. I'd love to have you guys come. It's going to be the first time I'm going to be giving it. I hope it goes really well, because I'd like to give it in more places. So if you're watching and you have a speaking engagement coming up and you loved that presentation, I would be happy to do it for you with my non-Saturday hair. I will shower for a speaking engagement and put a bra on and all of that fun stuff. So let's see, what else do we have going on? I have some keynotes coming up, but mostly it's this stuff. I'm back at it. I try to do 40 hours like a normal person, but it is not sustainable for an autistic brain to do a 40-hour-a-week job, especially when there is no remote time. So I am now in search of I'm going to try a new thing where I'm going to try and patch together some work rather than looking for one job to do it all. I'm going to try and do lots of little things. So we'll see if that works in terms of income, and if that's sustainable. Time to find that out together. And of course, you guys will be along for that journey, because I don't know how else to do this except to be me. So that's Neurodiversity Newsstand for this week. I'm Becca Laurie Hector, your host. I hope to see you guys back here next week, and I hope you will take the time to go ahead and join Neurodiversity Newsstand on either LinkedIn or Facebook, or both, frankly. That'd be fine by me. And then on Friday afternoons, you'll be able to catch the week sum up. It'll be Neurodiversity Newsstand, the vlog, right here. And I will give you your neurodiversity news in a nutshell from the week. If you have any questions, or if there's anything you want me to talk about that we posted in Newsstand that you want to make sure I hit on in the video next week, or if there's something that you think needs to be advertised, or something going on in our community you want me to share on here, I don't care. Go ahead, leave it in the comments. You can also email me at info@beccalaurie.com. You can find me on Facebook and LinkedIn and message me through my pages. Any number of ways to contact me. Contact page on my website, whatever you want to do, but share with me. What do you think about this idea? Is this going to work for us a little better? Am I wasting my time? Should I not bother? All of that fun stuff. And of course, if I'm missing anything, please feel free to share it with me. Before you guys leave, please make sure you like this video and thumbs up it and share it and comment, because that's what the algorithms require from us. And it's also the only way I know if you're watching. So I'd appreciate it if you let me know that you're watching, so that I don't feel like I'm talking to air. Big shout out to Rico. Thank you so much for letting me know so super fast that the video got cut off yesterday, because otherwise I'd be sitting here going, why isn't anybody talking to me about the news I picked? And it would have been because it wasn't here. So here it is, part 2 of the first installment, Becca with her Saturday hair and the news. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one, newsies. Bye-bye.